Hi there! Welcome back once again to Legacy Finance. In today's video, I'm going to be going over 7 financial practical goals that you can commit to as we enter the middle of the year 2021. Now, I know that towards the end of last year or at the very beginning of this year, lots of us committed to a lot of financial goals and other dreams and aspirations that we had. However, data shows that somewhere April or May of the year, most of us are not able to commit to these goals. Sometimes partly because we do not have the discipline to follow through these goals, or sometimes the goals could just be so overwhelming that it becomes difficult to stick to them. However, in this video, I'm going to highlight 7 practical goals, financial goals that you can commit to that will help you end the year successfully. And if you are new to this channel, Legacy Finance is all about personal finance, investments, and then entrepreneurship. We give people the tools, the ideas, and suggestions as to how to create money over time, build wealth, and to achieve financial independence. So if financial independence is one of your primary goals in life, then you have come to the right channel. So do consider subscribing if you haven't done so. And remember to give this video a like if you have gotten value of it at the very end of it. And at the very end of this video, I'm going to provide an extra AF tip that will help you really achieve your goals for the year 2021 so far as your finances are concerned. Alright, so now let's get to the very depths of this video. The first thing that I want you to do is to sit down and plan a budget. Sit down and plan a budget. What is this budget going to do for you? The budget will inform you of how much you are spending and how much you are earning. And based on this budget, you can do what I call assessing your net worth. Your net worth simply is how much you have against how much you are owing. So by sitting down to do a budget, you know where your money is going in terms of necessities, and it will also inform you of where your money is going in terms of wants. And from there, you can sit down to draw a table where on one column you write down your assets and on another column you write down your liabilities. At the end of it, you take the difference between your assets and your liabilities and you get your net worth. Based on the value that you get, it could be a positive or a negative. It will inform you of how much you are really spending in every given month or for the whole year. So that is the first thing I want you to do. Sit down and plan a budget of how much you are spending and how much you are earning. Now, based on the outcome of this budget, then we can talk about the next step that you can do. And that is the practice of living below your means. The practice of living below your means. To live below your means doesn't mean that you are poor. It doesn't mean that you do not have. It just simply means that you are managing your money properly. You can afford it all right, but you do not want to live at the very extremes of life where you are buying luxury and just show off items just to please society or to please people who do not really care about you. So you have to learn to live below your means if you are really serious about achieving your financial goals for the rest of the months of the year 2021. So that is the next thing that you can do. Now, let's say that you have done your budgeting, you have discovered that you are always in deficit, so you have decided to cut down on some of your expenses so that you can live below your means. Now you have done these 2 steps. Now if you have found that these 2 steps are not very applicable to you, it is my hope that the next step that I'll talk about will be something that you can really apply in your life. And that is the issue of committing to paying yourself first. Committing to pay yourself first. Now it becomes very difficult to implement this practice. Even though it's very easily talked about, it becomes very difficult because paying yourself becomes difficult because we usually do not have enough to offset our liabilities. We usually do not have enough to offset our expenses. However, there is hope and a way out of this, and that is something I call automation. Walk up to your bank, speak with your bank manager or your bank teller that you want a percentage of your money directed to a specific account as savings for you, as payment for yourself. Now, usually it's recommended that you save not less than 10% of what you are earning as payment for yourself. So I strongly advocate that if at the beginning of the year you never did this practice, now we are in the middle of the year, you can still do it. Walk up to your bank, speak with your teller or your bank manager that you want 10%, at least 10% of your money sent into a savings account as payment for yourself. A very, very important financial practice that will set you up for financial prosperity. So that is that with the third step that I want you to do. Now, the next thing that I want you to do insofar as achieving your financial goals for the middle of the year 2021 is what I call building an emergency fund. Building an emergency fund. Do you know that about 60% of the working class do not have up to 5,000 saved as an emergency fund? Yet life happens. A lot of things happen. When I say life happens, I'm talking about things like you getting involved in an accident, you getting involved in a terminal illness, you getting laid off from your job. All these are things that can happen to you, and it will affect you greatly if you do not have an emergency basket somewhere. When this happens, where do you run to? Do you go around talking to friends for financial aid? This is not the best situation because it doesn't really show that you have reputation in society. The best is to start saving towards an emergency fund so that when any of these things happen, you'll be better prepared for it. Now, how much should you save as an emergency fund? This is something that is relative, but you can use this as a guide. The first is if you are a single person just starting out in life, at least 3 months of your monthly salary saved as an emergency fund is okay. However, if you are a committed person, you are married or you are with family, at least 6 months of your monthly salary saved up as an emergency fund is very much okay. However, if you are a business owner or someone who employs people, it is recommended that you have at least 12 months of your monthly salary saved as an emergency fund. Now, another aspect of really having an emergency fund is that the fact that you may even be considering changing a job or a career. If you are considering changing a job or a career, it is important that you have this money saved up so that as you are making that transition, you have something to fall back on. So it's really important that you build an emergency fund. About 60% of the working class do not have an emergency fund, and most of them, as soon as they get laid off from their jobs, within the first 2 months, it will start showing in them that they are not really working. And that is something that we shouldn't tolerate. It's something that we shouldn't accept. There is a way out of it, there is hope out of it, and that is to start saving something towards your emergency fund so that when life happens, you'll be properly cushioned to take care of it. So that is the 4th financial goal that I want you to commit to as we enter the second half of 2021. Now, the 5th one that I want you to do is something that I believe that it will work well for most of us if the others did not work well for you, and that is building a project fund. Building a project fund. Now, the project fund here covers things like the things that you desire to do with your life. I know at the beginning of the year, most of us have aspirations such as the desire to go back to school, the desire to get married, the desire to acquire a piece of land, the desire to build a house. All these are things that most of us were aspiring for at the beginning of the year. So you can decide that if so far as the first 6 months we are not able to do this, for the next 6 months of the year 2021, then you commit to what I call the project fund, where you contribute not less than 20% of your monthly salary towards. This is money that you can use over time to settle one of the projects that you want to undertake in your life. If it is that you want to go back for further studies, if it's that you want to get married, if it's that you want to buy a piece of land, then you can commit to this as well. Let me give you a typical example. I know someone who contributed to this project fund was able to get down payment for a piece of land that was supposed to cost him $25,000. He was able to raise only $5,000, and he was able to use the $5,000 as down payment for a piece of land that will cost him $25,000. Now, after 1 year, this piece of land was valued at $50,000, and because he had already done the down payment, he was able to resell this land at $50,000 and pay off the $20,000 that he was owing the original landowner. So the project fund becomes very important because it will cushion you, it will help you undertake certain projects in your life. Now, let's say that you have done the first 5 steps, or you are struggling to do the first 5 steps. Then I hope that the next 5th step will be something that will be a lot easier for you, and that is the subject of paying off your debts. Paying off your debts. Trust me, debts are like a leakage in your ship. They continually drain you, they sack you, and they make it very difficult for you to really gather money. So paying off your debts will provide the following benefits for you. 1, it will give you that peace of mind. so that you can sleep soundly in the night, knowing very well that you do not owe anybody any kind of money. 2, it will free up enough space for you to be able to save more of your money. And thirdly, it gives you back your reputation and respect in society as someone who has been able to pay off your debts. So considering all these benefits, it is worthwhile really investing your time and resources into paying back all the debts that you owe. And once you begin to pay off these debts, I strongly advise that you do not go to pick on more debts. Because being in debt is like being in a hole. And if you are taking on more debts, it means that you are just digging and digging more into the hole and putting yourself more in more troubles. So try as much as possible to pay off your debts as soon as possible. And there are many methods that you can use to start paying off your debts. You can decide to use the snowball method, which advocates that you start paying the smallest debts that you owe so that it will give you the encouragement and motivation to take on the bigger debts. There is also another method they call the avalanche method, which advocates that you start paying the highest interest earning debts so that you can take off those interests that you are paying on those debts. So that is the next step that I strongly advocate that you should do if you are really serious about achieving your financial goals for the year 2021. So I've provided you with 6 practical ways. Now let's talk about the 7th method. Now the 7th method is what I call giving back to society. Giving back to society. Now experiences have taught me that anytime you give money out, you get more money. Yes, anytime you give money out, you get more money. This is something I've practically experienced, and I want to advocate that you can include that as part of your financial goals for the year 2021. Now, this is not an attempt to preach some religion or morality into you. If you apply it and it doesn't work for you, then you can stop doing it. But trust me, once you start it, it will be a practice that you will never turn back on. You will continue to do it, and your finances will continue to improve over time. So that is the 7th step. And as I stated earlier on, at the very end of this video, I'm going to provide you with an extra tip that will strongly improve your finances as you move towards the end of the year. And this is a way of saying thank you for watching this video up to the very end of it. And that 8th tip is what I call stop involving in bad financial practices. Stop involving yourself in bad financial practices. What are bad financial practices? A typical example is investing in probability or lucky-based games. If you take a game like soccer bet or the lottery game, these are games that are programmed to make the game owner richer and make those who participate in them poorer. I always use the case example of a ludo die. Let's say that you are betting against the fact that if you toss a ludo die, the number that will turn up will be 2. Chances are that your chance of the number 2 turning up is 1/6. In other words, this translates to 16%. However, chances that you will not get the 2 turning up is 5/6, which translates to 83%. So your chances of losing are 83% against your chances of winning, which is just 16%. So how can you be so certain that that 16% is what will really happen for you? There is no certainty in this. So the best way out of this is to stop involving in such practices. Make sure that you don't involve yourself in the practice of investing in these probability or lucky-based games. They do not improve your finances, and chances are that it is true that some people will win once in a while, but those people are just 1 out of millions of people out there that are losing. So please stop this practice. It doesn't help you to grow financially. So those are the 8 tips that I've provided for you in this video. I hope that you find some value out of some of these tips, and if you did, please remember to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, because here we will help you to achieve the financial independence, which I know is very paramount to your life. Thank you very much for watching, and God richly bless you. Bye.